What's going on, beautiful people? It is I, your flying locomotive, and faster than a speeding bullet SuperCliff, coming at you live with a brand new video. So check it. If you're a fan of DC Comics, if you're a fan of superhero movies, James Gunn, and the never-ending tragedy cycle that DC movies continues to go through, well, have no fear, folks, because it seems that for the very first time in human history, DC has a plan. More importantly, DC has its own studio. That being DCStudios, headed by James Gunn and Peter Safran. Now, last Tuesday, James Gunn released a 6-minute video where he talked about the future of the movies and the rebirth of a new interconnected universe, dubbed the DCU, while also stating like movies like The Joker and Matt Reeves' The Batman are part of DC's Elseworlds, basically stories that are not affiliated with the overall universe. Gunn also said that the upcoming Flash movie, you know, the one starring the majestic Ezra Miller, will officially reset the DC universe, thus welcoming in the new DCU. Now, in this video, Gunn revealed 10 projects slated for DC Chapter 1, Gods and Monsters, and a lot of cool stuff was announced. A Creature Commandos animated series, a new Superman movie titled SupermanLegacy, finally, the Batman the Brave and the Bold movie, a Booster Gold show, and a SwampThing movie. Now, one of the things that Gunn said in the video really hit me in the core, so let's play that part.
One of the things that's very important for me in all of these movies and TV series is that the director's vision and the vision of the writers and all of the creators is unique and something special.
Quote, the director's vision and the vision of the writer and all the creators is unique and something special. Now that says a lot right there, because the way I interpret it is that, not every movie, show, or game is going to be white or black. There's going to be some gray in between. For example, Superman is about hope and justice and always doing the right thing. Now, I'm not saying that Superman Legacy can't be multi-dimensional, nor am I saying its theme or its story is going to be simple. But as fans of comic books and movies, I think it's safe to say that Superman will be viewed and portrayed like a hero within his movie. A hero who's going to be Metropolis' shining beacon of hope. Essentially, when it comes to Superman, we have an idea of what we're getting ourselves into. However, as the quote states, that's not going to be the same case for every project. Not every superhero movie needs a $200 million budget. Not every superhero needs a handsome fella or lady being the face of said movie. Therefore, what better way to showcase how the DCU can be different than the DCEU or the MCU than with SwampThing? And that's what we're going to be discussing in this video. How can SwampThing change the game when it comes to superhero movies? The way these movies are made and structured, along with the expectations of going into seeing a superhero movie on the big screen. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. Now, first things first, who is SwampThing? Well, SwampThing was created by Len Wein and Bernie Wrightson and first debuted in the House of Secrets issue number 92 way back in 1971. SwampThing throughout DC Comics has had several incarnations, but the most popular of them all is that of Alec Holland. Alec Holland was a scientist who worked in the Louisiana bayous, and at the time, he was working on a formula that would help solve the nation's food shortage issues. However, things end up going extremely wrong. Alec's lab gets attacked by criminals, and the whole thing just ends up exploding. Alec's entire body is drenched in his formula, and he's on fire. Thus, he jumps into the swamp. However, by doing this, the plant life of the swamp basically reconstructs Alec's body via plant-like formation, birthing a brand new swamp body. But wait, there's more happening here, folks, because it turns out that Alec Holland is actually dead. Rather, what happened was that the swamp basically constructed a plant-like construct, and because of the formula and all the crazy stuff that has to do with the green, it imbued Alec's consciousness and memories into this newly constructed monster now known as SwampThing, the protector of the swamps. And not only is SwampThing a swamp monster, but his lore surrounding his character is also very important. He isn't just some monster who chills in the swamp. He's also a guardian of the Parliament of Trees, or in short, the Green. So yes, magic and mysticism is involved as well. So what does this all mean? Well, for starters, SwampThing, he ain't sexy. He's not wearing a cape. He doesn't have a social security number or a cell phone. Literally, he's gross and he's terrifying. Therefore, because of his dark origins and the body horror that surrounds his character, it already allows SwampThing the movie to be something completely different. a project handled through a more experimental lens than compared to a Superman movie or a Batman movie. For we're not supposed to feel comfortable when it comes to Swamp Thing. It's like, what am I looking at? Is this thing even human? Does it understand what I'm saying? And so that's where the film's approach can be handled in a unique way. Yes, treat this as a horror movie. Give us horrific shots of Swamp Thing, impaling dudes with roots, having grotesque imagery that will make you never want to eat a salad again. But beneath all the horror of it and, past the chaos and the violence happening on screen, showcase the poeticness of Swamp Thing. What is Swamp Thing's connection to humanity? Commentate on mortality, the concept of protecting, and what does it mean to be human while being a disgusting looking plant monster? Another thing that this movie has going for it is the separation it has with the other DCU projects. Yes, Swamp Thing is part of the DCU. He's part of DC Comics and he's a part of the superhero landscape. But similar in the way that Marvel Studios handled Werewolf by Night, Swamp Thing is going to be in his own little bubble. So, he'll show up in massive events, but for the most part, he'll be over there in the corner doing what he does. Therefore, not only can the movie's story, its themes, and messaging be handled differently than a Superman movie, but so too can the filming and the making of the movie itself. One of the things that bugs me for the most part when it comes to superhero movies are the insane budgets being pumped into these films, the insane amount of CGI that's being used. There should be no reason whatsoever that a Black Widow movie should cost you $200 million. No reason at all. I believe one of the many reasons as to why the original Iron Man is still in my top 5 superhero, MCU movies of all time is the fact that the movie's production, its action, and its set pieces are tamed. Yes, CGI is involved, but there was a balance between props and CGI. I'll bet you a pint of my own blood that the scene where Tony is donning the Mark I suit, the scene where he fights and kills all the terrorists in the cave, if that was handled the way, Iron Man fights and flies like it was in Avengers Endgame, I don't think that scene would have hit as hard as it did. What the Swamp Thing movie should do is take notes from Blumhouse productions. Movies like The Purge, The Black Phone, The Invisible Man, and the new hotness that is Megan, these movies are made on the cheap, $3 to $18 million. However, what Blumhouse does so well is not only making bank, but because these movies don't have, hundreds of millions of dollars invested into them, these movies can take risks. They can try different methods for filming, thus bettering a movie's telling, but the experience of watching that movie as well. Basically, Swamp Thing should not cost $200 million. This thing should cost $60 million at best, maybe even less. What this movie needs to do is make the audience feel as if they're in the middle of the swamp. This movie needs to feel gross and gritty, and it needs to make you feel uncomfortable. Yes, involve CGI, but don't rely on it. And because the movie will be cheap compared to something like, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you can take risks. Incorporate out of this world cinematography, long drawn and out tracking shots, uncomfortable close-ups, and add some craftiness to it. Make Swamp Thing a unique lived-in experience that brings Swamp Thing to the DCU, but it also challenges on how superhero movies are made. Also get a director who shares this vision. Someone like a James Wan, or heck, maybe Robert Eggers. The guy who did The Witch, The Lighthouse, and he also did last year's The Northman, which was amazing and you all should see that movie. By the way, apparently after releasing the slate, James Mangold tweeted a photo of Swamp Thing on his Twitter, so, perhaps he'll be directing the Swamp Thing movie. And I wouldn't mind that one bit. The dude did Logan, 3:10 to Yuma, Ford vs. Ferrari. He also did the new Indiana Jones movie, so yeah, not a bad choice if that's to go down. But yeah, as always, I'm your majestic sayer over at SuperCliff, and if you guys are new to the channel, then do me a solid by smashing that like and subscribe button, and also hit that notification bell so that you'll never miss out on an upload, and so that you'll always be kept up to date with your favorite top tier comics happening in the comic book world. Now tell me, what are your thoughts and opinions on the upcoming Swamp Thing movie? Who do you think should direct it? Do you want Swamp Thing to be different? Something like The Shining or Ridley Scott's Alien? What do you guys think of the DCU slate in general? Let me know down in the comment section below. And until the next video, peace. Giggity goo.